Yo, what is going on everybody? It's Juan Solo here with ASQD Gaming and welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in today for some more 06 Behind Enemy Lines. So for those of you that do not know what title that I am talking about, this is going to be a brand new third-person tactical shooter made by an indie developer, and they are using Unreal Engine 4. And it has been nearly a year since I put out my very first video on 06 Behind Enemy Lines. Obviously with everything that went on in 2020, this being a smaller studio, we haven't really got any information surrounding what was going on with this game. They did say that they were shooting for a alpha test for this game sometime in 2020, but obviously that did not pan out. And just the other day, they actually released their first developer blog, and they kind of went in depth with their environmental design that they're going to be using in the single player and multiplayer of 06 Behind Enemy Lines. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video, because I can really appreciate the fact that they are starting to release dev blogs, and they did say in this post that there's going to be future dev blogs along the way along development of this game. So with that being said, real quick before we jump into it, if you guys go on to enjoy the video, a like rating would be super appreciated. Also, for those of you that may be new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you do not miss any of my future uploads. Also, for those of you guys that want to check out my first video that I did on this game, I will link that down below in the description. Make sure to go check it out. The developers go on to say in this dev blog that they wanted to talk about how they approach the environmental design for 06, and they usually start with a so-called environment art style test, which entails the creation of a small scale scene, and it's a way of getting a sense of what a finished level will look like. It plays a big role in shaping the overall look of the game, and they are generally presented internally to the team as a fly-through video or even a small playable demo. And I do have to say that I would love to get my hands on this so-called playable demo, because I've been itching for a new third-person tactical shooter to try, and this one does look like it holds some promise as long as everything goes smoothly throughout development. So the devs go on to say that in specific they wanted to talk about the jungle scene that you can see in these screenshots here. This scene in particular is based on two concept images from concept artist Florent. Those two concept images were given to Asan to create the needed assets and textures and put together a small diorama scene based on the concept images. And with that being said, Asan himself goes on to say that he always started by studying and researching the concept that he wanted to work on. For this scene, we wanted to go deep into a tropical rainforest, and it was important to know the biome and find the species that grow there. He mainly used Megascans and Speedtree for the vegetation, because he went on to say that he loves both products and he has his own way of using them with development. However, he thinks that the idea of drag and drop models in the scene and the renders is not good enough. He tends to edit, combine, change a lot of the scanned objects before bringing them into the scene. As for any other procedure, he would like to use them smartly and in a way that models look as natural as possible, which obviously people that play the game, we can definitely appreciate a more realistic environment. So when it comes to the textures and materials used, for the foliage, the native Unreal Engine 4 shader for the two-sided foliage is being utilized. Since the forest is very dense and only a limited amount of light passes into it, translucency in the leaves is very important. It helps in terms of lighting and enhances the readability of the scene. So with that, you can see here the main shader part. So with the moss shader uses fuzziness and is based on the z-axis of the object. So obviously those of you guys that have played tactical shooters and stuff, when you have these kind of environments, you sort of would take this for granted, but it does take the developers quite a bit of work to actually make those locations feel realistic with the environments. So Asan goes on to say that this is an early test comparing default Unreal Engine 4 shader with his test, which was using fuzziness and some tricks from what was used in Uncharted 4. Both shader balls are using the same texture maps. So with that, textures are made using Megascans, and he likes to combine, edit, and add different textures instead of directly using what he can find from Quixel, which I am definitely not a developer, so I'm not exactly 100% sure on what he's talking about with these different terms, but Megascans are great, especially when it comes to foliage and natural environments, but the scene can get pretty noisy and hard to read if you just drag and drop textures and models straight from Megascans to the scene. And overall, this definitely shows up when a developer goes in depth like that, so you don't have some objects that have different textures and stuff that kind of feel out of place. Also, when it comes to the lighting and atmospheric effects in 06 Behind Enemy Lines, Hassan goes on to say that he used real-time lighting for the scenes. The whole scene is using a directional and skylight for the main lighting. I used some point lights to fake some details, but the main lighting is coming from 2 lights, which the angle of the sunlight and shadows was important for the composition. The most important point in this scene was to make it look like a natural, lush tropical forest while keeping the scene readable and not noisy. He also used exponential height fog with volumetric fog because he goes on to say that fog is cool for sure. I see a lot of overuse, which can cause the scene to look milky and unclear, but a little bit is okay. And with that being said, for those of you guys that may have seen the Unreal Engine 5 demo, there was some really cool lighting effects that I think would be really cool to see in a tactical shooter environment. So maybe at some point they will move over to Unreal Engine 5, because just some of the tools and stuff that you can use in Unreal Engine 5 would really pop in a tactical shooter. So once all of that is taken care of in the actual development process, the devs go on to say that after that, as a next step, the assets are being implemented into an actual game level, and these are levels for single and multiplayer, and they are produced as so-called gray box levels first, as you guys can see here. And this is a early stage of one of the first jungle themed levels that are going to be in the game, and these levels are heavily play tested in this stage. Only after they fulfill certain criteria, an environment artist starts working on them, taking the block out and turning it into a complete level. How this process is being done will be featured in an upcoming dev blog. So obviously this is extremely early in development, and we have not seen any other gameplay other than a few short bits, and then we got to see some sort of like an actual Unreal Engine 4 showcase of the environment Redwood, which I think is going to be one of their multiplayer maps. But overall, I wouldn't expect to see this game anytime soon. Actually, if you do go over to their website, you can sign up for their alpha test whenever that's going to be, because officially over on their website, it does say that it's going to be taking place in the year 2021. Originally, it was supposed to take place last year with 2020, but obviously last year was an incredibly crazy year, and this did get pushed back. So hopefully we will get to see this in some way, shape, or form. Because I've talked about this a number of times on my channel, there really isn't a whole lot of competition when it comes to the third-person tactical shooter. And I do understand that this is an indie developer, but sometimes you get the absolute most care when it comes to an actual tactical shooter from those smaller developers, because they know how the game systems work. But overall, that's going to do it for the video. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on 06 Behind Enemy Lines, because obviously I know a lot of you guys follow me for my Ghost Recon content, and you and I know that we've all been itching for that third-person tactical shooter that kind of takes us back to the old school Ghost Recon and SOCOM days. And I think honestly, if the development process of this game goes smoothly, that could definitely be an option moving forward. But like I said, that's all for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, you are excited about hearing some more information about 06 Behind Enemy Lines, make sure to drop a like on the video, and also subscribe if you are new to stay up to date on all content surrounding this game on the channel moving forward. But that is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.